All right. Hi guys, it's Brittany. This video is going to be about my experiences traveling while breastfeeding, pumping, etc. So if you haven't seen my last video, this is actually a continuation of that. So in my last video, I went over when you're traveling, what to bring, where to pack it, how to plan your trip, all that stuff. So this is essentially how did all that stuff that I planned end up in reality? So I'm going to talk about that. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll actually link it in the comment box so that you can go back and watch it. But this one is kind of what happened after that. I went on my trip about a week ago. I meant to do this video sooner, but I just haven't had time. I went on my trip to New York about a week ago. I took a straight flight there. And I was there for 2 days and then came back, straight flight back. So my plan was to go there, essentially freeze all the milk that I have. I made sure that I stayed in a hotel with a full fridge. So it was like a on bedroom, suite, kitchen, everything. And then whatever I pumped essentially that night, that right before I was going to leave, because I left in the morning, whatever I was going to pump that night and that morning, I was going to carry back on me as like a carry-on. So liquid. So everything else was going to be frozen. So when I first got there, my first pump, I actually mapped it out. So I knew where I was going to pump, was on the plane. And so originally when I was going to pump on the plane, I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. I'm going to get out of my seat. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to put on my pump. I was using the Willow. So the Willow, like I need to be completely naked. Like I need to go to the bathroom. I can't just like flip it on. I know some people can, I can't do that. So that was my plan. So I get there and actually no one is in the seat next to me. So I'm like, oh, great. So I pull out my nursing cover and I'm trying to do the Willow, and I don't use the bags usually, but I decided to use the bags. I was trying to get it on and it was just a hot mess. Like I have one of the traditional nursing covers, so there's no, it doesn't have that like open neck that some of them have that you can buy. I'm actually thinking about buying one of those because I like it better. Or just like the idea of it, like being able to see. So trying to see where like the material is falling down, it was just a mess. So I would not recommend doing that. Also, my flight was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. So the one thing about the Willow is you're not supposed to use it when you're taking off and you're landing. So my first pump section did not go as planned. So yeah, pumped on the plane. And then when I got there to visit the vendor that we were visiting, they were working in New York. It was really cool. It was like a co-work space. So when I got there, there was a refrigerator there, but no freezer to put my ice pack in. So when I got there, I put my milk in the refrigerator and actually went to go pump again. So that was kind of a weird experience. They had a place to pump, so they had a mother's room, but the person who was showing me around had the key card, so she actually had to wait for me. So that was kind of like, I felt pressure to like pump or whatever. But one of the things that I made sure to do actually, and I didn't show this in the last video, was that I bought a bag, like I think this is actually a men's travel bag, but a bag to put my Willows in, so that I wasn't like fumbling for all my stuff. So the Willow comes with carrying sacks. Like actually I'll show you guys. They come with these sacks, one for each one of them. But I don't want to just carry these two around, especially there's a lot of like stuff that you need, like wipes and everything like that. So I decided to buy a bag, and I actually love the fact that I did that. So in this bag, I can actually fit my Willow, the flange, that's a container, the flange for the bags, and my baby Buddha flanges with the bottles in there. So pretty much everything. I can't fit the baby Buddha pump. So that I put in, you know, those cooler bags that are meant for just like a single bottle. I put my baby Buddha in that. Eventually I'll probably buy a hard case for it, because one thing that happened is when I was getting on the plane, it wasn't in it, it was just in that cooler and it turned on. So I'll put it in like a hard makeup case, and they have them at Target for like $20 or whatever. So I'll probably buy one of those for when I travel next time. But yeah, I love this case because I would just grab it, know that everything's in it, grab this in my other case if I was using my baby Buddha, and then just go pump. So that was perfect. So pumping went okay that day. Both of my meetings actually had a dial-in. So what I would do is I would actually go to another room, and then I would call into the conference, and I would be talking to my coworkers in the room until I came back. So that was good. You know, I was on a time crunch, so I made sure to pump before I went out to dinner that night, because both nights I went out to dinner with colleagues. And then the night that I got there, I actually was so tired. I was so lazy. And so I didn't wake up to pump in the middle of the night. And that was a huge mistake for me personally, because the next morning I woke up and I get really bad clogged ducts. I know this. I don't know why I didn't wake up to pump, but I didn't wake up to pump. And the next day, I was hurting. Like, I was in the middle of lunch and I had to leave and go to the bathroom and try to massage out that clogged duct. And really, the only thing I can do when I have a clogged duct is either massage it out, which, you know, I can't do that at a table full of people, or actually nurse. And obviously, my daughter's not with me. So the one thing I wish I would have brought that I didn't bring, I wrote down on the list, and I looked at my list and I was like, you know what? I don't need this. Like, you're packing too much. It was my hatha, because when I'm massaging it out, all that milk, at least I'm not losing it. But you know, if I have to go to the bathroom or something, it's just a wrap. It's not going anywhere. So that's one thing that I didn't bring. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. But that day I was actually wearing the regular nursing pads, like the disposable kind, and those hold up a lot better than the non-disposable reusable kind. Sorry, environment, but I have a ton of those. I probably have like 20 of the reusable kinds, but when I have a clogged duct, I was just leaking through everything. So that was good that I had that. So all in all, I was really glad that I did stay at that Homewood Suites, because it had a kitchen. It was perfect. When I got home, or got back to the hotel room, I would clean all my pump one last time, clean all my pump parts, pack my milk up, put it in the freezer, and it was perfect. And no problems whatsoever. So that was ideal. I think that was major. And so the next night, I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. The next night, I did the same thing, but that night that I was going to leave, I just left my milk in the refrigerator, because it wouldn't have frozen in time. So that morning when I packed up, I took all of my frozen milk. I actually waited like very last minute. I packed everything in my suitcase, left a space for my cooler, and then like 5 minutes before I was about to leave, I put everything in. So I had an ice pack at the bottom, my frozen milk, and an ice pack at the top. And I used my Coleman cooler. So I used this one right here, the 24-hour one. And I packed everything in it, and I put it in my check suitcase. And then I took the Medela one with the bottles in it. I took that one that had the 2 bottles in it, one from the night before and one from that day where I pumped in the hotel room before I left. And I took that to the airport. So that was my carry-on. Going through security, I had no issues. I was worried because you can take ice packs through, but they have to be frozen. So to get from my hotel to the airport was like an hour, because we didn't fly out of LGA. We did JFK, which was further than whatever. It was the further one. So I was actually afraid that by the time I got there, it would be unfrozen. I Googled it and everything. I was like, how much does this ice pack cost? Like, I'm out $10. Like, it's fine. So when I get there, security is just packed. So they're just like trying to get people through. So there was no issues. No one checked my breast milk, none of that. So that was actually perfect. Getting through security with the ice pack. I will say that by the time I got home, the ice pack had pretty much melted. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you what everything looked like when I got home. Okay, so it's been almost 6 hours to the exact minute since I put everything in the cooler. So I packed frozen milk in the Coleman 24-hour cooler, and the milk from this morning, I packed it in a cooler and I took it as a carry-on item with me through TSA security. So this one in my checked luggage. We have the Cool Shock ice pack. That's pretty much still frozen solid. My milk. This is a little Not frozen, but it's okay. Pretty much everything is frozen solid. So 6 hours later, everything held up. There's a cooler shock down here at the bottom. And then for my carry-on item, this is pretty much all liquid, which I did expect it to stay cold, but everything is still pretty cold. Well, this is from just now that I just pumped on the way home, so that's not that cold, but everything is a nice, decent temperature. So 6 hours is probably exactly enough for that. Any more might be pushing it. One of the things that I did do is I actually, before I got to the airport, I looked to see if there was any place that you could nurse at. So on my way back, I had to nurse. I had planned on only nursing once, or sorry, pumping once, but I ended up having to do it twice. So in JFK Airport, I actually looked it up before I went and was like, hey, is there somewhere to pump? And there actually was. And the pump, I didn't know what it was actually. I didn't really pay attention to it, but it was actually the Mamava. I'll put it down below, but it was the Mamava nursing pods that they have in the airport. So I'll actually insert and show you what that looked like. So I am in my Mava pod. You need to download the app to get in here. You hold it up to the door. There's a number key on the outside and it unlocks. And then this lock right here actually just shows whether it's vacant or not. So you can stop someone from coming in. I have the door unlocked because if someone needs to use it, I don't mind if they come in. There's room for 2 in here. I have my Medela case with the cooler pack in here. I have 2 bottles from the morning. So my 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. pump are in here. And then I have 2 empty bottles in here because it holds 4 for my pump right now, and I might pump on the way home from the airport, so I don't have to do it when I get home. And I am using my baby Buddha to pump, so I have to head to the gate soon, and so I'm about to disconnect. So the nursing pods were super cool. I love the concept. One thing that I didn't do, because on JFK's airport website, it says that there's a pod, but I didn't know what it was. Like, I thought it was just a room. I didn't know it was the Mamava thing because I had seen other people post about it, but I didn't know that that was that. So had I have known that, I would have downloaded the app ahead of time, because what you have to do is you have to go up to the door. The door has a lock key code on it. I guess depending on which one you need it, but for mine, you sign up for the app, you say you're at the thing, you hold your phone up to it, and it unlocks it. So I was literally staying outside of the thing for like 5-10 minutes. I couldn't figure out my Apple ID password. Like, I don't know why I needed a password. I've been downloading things since, but that day I needed a password. And I was sitting outside of that pod for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, all right, gotta catch my flight, gotta pump, gotta finish everything in time. So that's one thing I wish I would have done, is downloaded the app ahead of time, so that when I got there, I could just like go up to the pod. It was a really cool experience. I was really glad they have them. I actually Instagram messaged them and was like, thank you so much. And they're like, you're welcome. So more places to have that. It was perfect. And my flight actually ended up being delayed. So I was I took my time, but it was like right up to the moment where I was like, all right, I'm just finishing, gotta wipe everything down, gotta make it to my gate. I'm gonna make it like on time. So I get to my gate. Delta's late. They're usually not late, so no hard feelings, Delta, but do better. So Delta was late, and so actually I had planned on pumping when I got home or on my way home, because there was enough time to where it would have been fine. When I got off the plane, I was in so much pain because it was probably close to almost an hour after when I usually pump. So I was like, no. I stopped in the bathroom. I put on my Willows. It was super painful. So the one thing about the Willows is sometimes the way you attach them, if you do it wrong or in a hurry, it can be painful. They're usually not, but I was like, you gotta go. So I ended up having to pump on my way. So I got my luggage. I was pumping while I got my luggage, got in my car on my way home. So that was convenient. So I do love the Willow for that. because I couldn't stop and pump. I had to go pick up my suitcase. So that was perfect. So I guess just the other thing is just, plan accordingly. When you're traveling, there's always delays. You might be stuck somewhere. So I'm really glad that I had that. But yeah, I think overall, I ended up using most things. I didn't use my manual pump. That was kind of a backup anyways. I didn't use as many plastic bags as I thought I would have, but I did use them when I got there the first day because there was no freezer. So I put everything on ice when I was traveling back and made my own little ice pack. I didn't use as many wipes as I did just because I wasn't pumping on the go as much. I was typically in a pump room or at my hotel room or something like that. And yeah, I think I pretty much used everything, all my coolers, most of my bags. So I think I did a pretty good job packing. Just wish I would have brought my Haka. So yeah, that's about it. That's my experience breastfeeding, pumping while traveling for work. I'll actually be doing another video on this. Upcoming, I'll be traveling to Spain for 7 nights. So it's a longer trip, not for work. So I'll be out and about more. So my packing list will look a little different. So I'll actually do this again, but for international travel. All right, see you guys later.